California Congressman Harley Rouda. He serves on the House Oversight Committee. He's a member of the New Democratic Coalition. Congressman, it is good to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning.
So you voted for the Mueller report to be public. Was that a political stunt, as you just heard?
No, I don't think it was a political stunt at all. What we saw leading up to that vote was the president suggesting that perhaps it didn't need to be released, and concerns with the answers by the Attorney General to be spot on and saying it would be released. And Congress did what it's supposed to do, take action to make sure that this very important information that the public really wants to see and provide the appropriate transparency into that investigation is into the hands for all of us to digest, understand, and contemplate what needs to take place next.
So what do you think about all of this that has taken place? I would imagine whether you're on the right or on the left, you want to make sure that our democracy stays secure and stays truthful. These cabal of people, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and others, Andrew McCabe, who's gotten criminal referrals, they put their finger on the scale to change the election and take down a duly elected president. You've seen all the evidence. What can you tell us?
Well, you're right. We look at that evidence, and it does require additional due diligence and investigation. But also, we can't use bad actors from the Clinton administration or otherwise as justification for not doing our job if there are bad acts taking place under the current administration. We are required under the Constitution to provide oversight. And I sometimes feel like this is like a middle school kids that are trying to justify their behavior by pointing to past behavior of others and saying, well, they did it too, so I'm allowed to do it. Or why are you picking on me when you should be looking back at them?
I think that's a fair point.
All this needs appropriate oversight.
But, you know, we're looking at the oversight of the Hillary Clinton email scandal. And, yes, you're going back several years in terms of looking in the backdrop. But was Hillary Clinton treated the way that you would like to see someone who did exhibit gross negligence with classified information? Was she treated fairly? Was that investigation a fair one?
Well, I just got to Congress, so I will point this out. The Republicans have held the House for the last 10 years. They've had oversight authority. They had full authority to oversee that investigation of the emails and Hillary Clinton. And look at what's concluded. There were no indictments. There were no convictions. And you look at what's going on the Mueller investigation, we almost have 40 convictions and indictments already, and the report hasn't even been released. So,
but just to be clear, those convictions have nothing to do with collusion or Donald Trump.
That's correct. That's exactly correct. So that's why we need to get through the report. And by the way, you also need to remember, too, that the Mueller report is only one of 3 investigations going on right now, and it's focused primarily on what transpired during the campaign. You also have what's going on in the Southern District of New York and the Eastern District of Virginia. So we tend to focus on the Mueller report being released and that's going to answer all questions. It's not. It's one of 3 major investigations going on.
Congressman, let me ask you about this upcoming vote. Mitch McConnell has followed through on his promise to call a test vote on the resolution supporting the Green New Deal. Are you going to vote for it?
I would prefer to focus on Ted Lieu's legislation, which was going to be 100 by 35. That's going to be submitted to the 116th Congress. But I do think Mitch McConnell certainly is doing this for showmanship. He wouldn't put certain votes that are very important to reopening the government, but he wants to put this vote on the table to get people on record in hopes of embarrassing them.
Well, I don't know about showmanship and getting people on record to embarrass them. It is important for the American people to understand who backs something like this, right? I mean, we've got reports that the Green New Deal is going to cost $94 trillion and that it makes no sense that you could do away with fossil fuels in 12 years. Wouldn't it be important for the American people to understand who actually believes that this is actually doable and who actually knows that it doesn't make any sense?
What I think is important that we all recognize that climate change is real and that we have to take action. And while you can point to any legislation or proposed legislation and point out the faults of it, we cannot deny that climate change is impacting every citizen of our country and around the world. And so let's quit focusing on areas where we have clear disagreement and focus on the task at hand. And I wish Mitch McConnell would say, yes, climate change is real. Mr. President, you're wrong. Let's work together and figure out how to solve this.
Well, what about, I mean, is there a big pressure? Do you feel pressure within your party to go along with some of these pie-in-the-sky ideas? I mean, you've got the Green New Deal, you've got Medicare for All, which wipes out the private insurance industry. You've got a tax on wealth idea from Elizabeth Warren, which is unconstitutional, and you've got a 70% tax that AOC wants. How much pressure are you feeling to go along with some of your freshman colleagues like AOC, even though many of the moderates don't believe that any of these things would actually materialize?
I don't feel any pressure at all, and I'll tell you why. The citizens of Orange County who elected me here recognize that I have moderate views. I come from a business background. I built companies up to 10,000 people. I believe in capitalism, and I believe in good government, and I believe they can work together. So whether the outlandish ideas on the left or right, I'm not going to support it. I'm going to work with my Republicans and Democrats who believe that most Americans are between the 20-yard lines and get good legislation accomplished.
Which is why you believe in border control.
Exactly.
Yeah. Congressman, it's good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.